That is Sushruta. And then we have Vagpada in the 6th century. These three, that was the glorious period of Ayurveda. And what is Ayurveda? A large part of it is Swastha-Vritta. How to remain healthy. How not to get sick. That is the large part of Ayurveda, Swastha-Vritta. And now that gives a detailed code for living, daily code, daily life. Seasonal changes, how to adjust to different seasons. And this code covers everything. About food, about paring nails, haircut, food, sleep. There is nothing, oral care. Every little thing is about the care of the body. Essentially, concentrating on no overuse, underuse or misuse of your senses. That is the basic principle. Based on that, there is a very, very elaborate code, but that is not the only thing. Then he goes on beyond the bread about moral requirements, truthfulness, freedom from anger. In fact, Bhagavata in one place he says, Satyavadinam akrodham, Athyatma pravanendriyam, Shantam, Sadvritti Viratam. These are all things strictly not a doctor's domain, but he insists that these are essential. So in that code of conduct, it is not only the physical care, but the moral aspect is greatly stressed. So that is, Swastha-Vritta is the dominant theme of Ayurveda. Not how to stay out of trouble, not how to get out of trouble, because that is much more difficult. And then the second very large section is the Adhara-Vritta, that is treatment, medicine. With all the care that you take, you can still get sick. How to get out of it. And there, it gives very detailed, it divides Adhara-Vritta into 8 branches, starting with surgery. Shalya was the first description. Then it goes to ENT surgery, general medicine, pediatrics, something which looks like psychiatry, toxicology. So there are 8 divisions of, including one on rejuvenation. So these are the 8 branches of Ayurveda. Each one of them is a big subject. And when somebody gets sick, the principles of treatment, Ayurveda was, the first is Shamana. There is no need to do anything for most of the common illnesses. Simple rest, fasting, very simple medications. In fact, most of the common illnesses like these, they get well on their own, because body, according to Charaka, is engineered for good health. It is only our own that lapse in that code that he had prescribed. That is what causes the illness. So if you have this Shamana treatment, it will get well. And Hyun San, the Chinese pilgrim who came here in the 6th century, he writes there, Indians, when a person gets sick, they don't immediately consult the doctor. The patient stays home and they do this Shamana, fasting, rest, etc. And most of them get well. And if they don't get well, then they consult the physician. He writes that. So obviously it was practiced at that time. If it doesn't get well, then there is Shodhana. That is the real procedure which many of you will know. There are 5 steps in this Panchakarma treatment, and which are applied in different ways. It's essentially the Ayurveda, when they talk about this Panchakarma procedures like this, there is always a concept behind it. It is not that because my ancestor did this, it worked, so I am doing this. No explanation is given. That's not the way. Here, for example, Panchakarma, if to just give you an example, how they had worked on this. Because they believe the human body, the skin outside and the mucous membrane lining our gastrointestinal system inside, that is a very big compartment, which is a dark compartment. We cannot see anything inside there. But their imagination, they knew that this compartment is where everything is happening. And there are millions, countless channels, srotas there. And through some of the srotas we can see, like veins, for example, we can see that. But there are such millions of channels through which things are flowing all the time. And that flow, uninterrupted flow, is essential for good health. So they believe when somebody gets sick, what happens is the flow of these substances, there are 7, so I won't go into details, but these are all described in very great detail. Now when there is a blockage there, due to whatever reason, that is the cause. That is how it is. Now how to unblock this? Because this is the interior of the body, and there they give these 5 steps, how to give a fatty substance inside that goes and loosens these blocks, and how sweating is given, and these are slowly removed, they get back into the gut, and then the Vamana and the Shodhana, they are eliminated. So there is a theory, a concept, and this is how science develops. Because without a hypothesis, in modern science also, if there is a particular observation, you will have to play around in your mind various images. What is happening, the mechanism of this. And then finally you test it in an experiment whether the hypothesis is correct or not. Now that process was followed here. So that was the procedures which they did in Shodhana. So Ayurveda therefore had simple treatment, complicated treatment. There was a great deal of surgery, as you very well have heard about Sushruta. He describes 120 types of surgical instruments, a large number of surgical operations, including the rhinoplasty, which is described. And rhinoplasty was actually witnessed by the British in the 19th century in Pune. And there is a detailed report on that, the eyewitness, two British surgeons, published in London in 1800, around that time. And this was seen by Dr. Karpo, who was a surgeon fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons, who saw this report, and that's the first rhinoplasty done in Europe. So these are all the procedures done in surgery. There's an elaborate type of training. Sushruta, there are 6 basic steps in surgery, procedures, incision, excision, and so on. Now these are all practiced in models. So these are available, you can read them. So the simulation being used in the training of surgeons. Detailed descriptions are there. So therefore, it was a complete system, the Ayurvedic practice. But somewhere in this, it flourished during those 6 centuries, then almost 1,000 years of decline. Swamiji was also referring to that. Now there is no proper explanation for this, because Sushruta, Shalya was number 1, first branch of medicine, surgery. Sushruta's time he was accepted as an acharya. Jivaka, the surgeon, he was surgeon of physician.